Joining me now, Washington Times staff writer, Breitbart News contributor, Charlie Hurt. Charlie, good to have you with us. Washington Times columnist, Fox News contributor, Tammy Bruce. Tammy, good to have you with us. What do you make of these developments? And while I've noticed some people have got big, broad smiles on their faces, Donald Trump, I thought, had been relatively constrained today, given what a positive this is for his campaign. He has been very steady, I think, for the last week. The last big news, of course, we got was that Fox News poll a couple days ago, which showed him doubling his numbers with independents. So we've seen a trend for the last week that was already on his side, despite everything being thrown at him. So he was already on the trajectory up. We have this kind of information. What's important now, of course, is for the next week, people do want to see him being steady. He's got 11 days. If he does this, this entire dynamic has just changed. Yeah, Charlie, I thought he was very good today, and the way he's handled himself and all of this, even as his supporters are, applauding these developments, understandably. He has not fallen into what might be a trap, spiking the football or in any way being perceived to be gloating.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect description, spiking the football. He doesn't want to be caught doing that. And I thought that his remarks today, obviously he's always going to have fun with anytime he's doing one of these events. And he had a lot of fun at this one today. And I think it is important, and it helps him and helps the campaign to remember this is a serious issue. And while a lot of us are sitting around just scratching our heads like thinking, man, could anything more amazing come along in this endlessly amazing political race?
Yeah, be careful, we've still got 11 days, Joe.
I know. What's going to happen? But it is important to remember these are very serious issues, and it's a very serious thing that allegations that we're talking about. We're talking about a criminal investigation. We're talking about lives that are in the balance here. This is serious stuff, and so I think he's very wise to have his fun with things, but to keep this serious.
I think that, and I think you're exactly right, but I also believe very seriously that without today's events, this is an explosion because it comes from the FBI director reversing himself and his agency, taking a new tact and reopening this investigation. This is sort of an explosion in the consciousness of American voters, many of whom, as I think we've all acknowledged, may not have been paying a lot of attention, no matter how dramatic, how exciting, how interesting, how revolutionary this campaign has been. Today, there's no choice, Tammy, but to be paying very, very close attention.
Yes, this is why I found it very strange when Mrs. Clinton said at her small press conference that people have made up their minds about the emails. Well, no, not really. This is going to now be, I think, troubling for her that she's been covered so much in the sense of being protected by the media. They have not really discussed it at any length if you're reliant on the legacy media, on the broadcast networks. And people are just now, maybe in the last couple of weeks, beginning to look seriously at this dynamic and what's happening. Plus, this really, I have to say, is not about the emails, is it? It's about cover-ups. It's about corruption. It's about not telling the truth. It's about the American people suddenly realizing again, wait a minute, has there been a different standard for her? And how far did this go? How many people have lied to us? That's what's at issue here. It's not the emails. It's about being trustworthy and not being a criminal.
Well, there still may be room for all of what you've described, plus the emails, plus more. Charlie, what are the prospects in your judgment as we read the letter from Comey to Congress? It looks like there's room here for a broad investigation of public corruption that does take into account the Clinton Foundation, the Global Initiative, her term as Secretary of State, the conflicts of interest that just compound and mount here in anything related to the Clintons, it seems.
Yeah, and it certainly keeps the campaign, this election coverage, all about this issue and all those issues you just listed, which is terrible for the Clinton campaign. Now, you watch out in the next couple of days. It'll be interesting to see what kind of Oppo research gets dumped by the Clinton campaign in mysterious ways about Donald Trump or about James Comey, about somebody else in order to change the election. But one of the things I think is so interesting is to go back into the summer, I think it was maybe August, where Donald Trump was tweeting, doing his dangerous tweeting that everybody says is so unpresidential, in which he pinpointed Anthony Weiner, the pervert,
Charlie,
and said,
forgive me for interrupting you, but we just happen to have those tweets, and I want to read them because they are extraordinary in the insight.
They're so prescient.
His prescience. He is a. He's a fortune teller, for crying out loud.
On top of
let's
everything
take a look
else.
at this. This is the first one. Now, I want to point out, not this summer. This was in September of 2013. Now, think about this. Over 3 years ago, Uma should dump the sicko Weiner. He is a calamity that is bringing her down with him. You talk about prescience, Charlie? Prescience.
Yeah, and
summer.
Also,
let's go to, if you will, let me just go through these, and then you please comment. It came out, now this was on the 3rd of August of last year. It came out that Huma Abedin knows all about Hillary's private illegal emails. Uma's PR husband, Anthony Weiner, will tell the world.
Oh, wait.
And this summer, that also in August of last year, Huma Abedin, the top aide to Hillary Clinton and the wife of perv, sleazebag Anthony Weiner, was a major security risk as a collector of info. You know, perhaps not as fascinating as the bureaucratese that one would normally associate with assessments by intelligence organizations. I mean, Donald Trump nailed it, did he not? Charlie?
Yeah, but it's not just the prescience of it, but it also reveals the kind of sleazy people that the Clintons surround themselves by, and that does matter to voters.
Tammy, you get the last word.
No, that's it. This is finally things coming home to roost, right? Who you hang out with, your lack of judgment, and what it all ends up being. This is it.
Tammy Bruce, Charlie Hurt will be rejoining us later in the broadcast. Thank you both.